Now we're going to look at exponential expressions, that is, expressions that have exponents in them. So it's important to know what expanded form looks like. N raised to the fifth power can be written in expanded form as n times n times n times n times n. In other words, exponentiation means repeated multiplication. 3a to the fourth. Now this one's a little bit more complicated. What we have to realize here is that the exponent only applies to whatever is immediately to its left. So that 3 is just a 3. The a raised to the fourth power is a times a times a times a. That's going to be important as we look at some more complex expressions and we try to do some operations here. All right, so the technique for simplifying something like 3m squared n cubed times 2m n to the fourth is going to be to write each of these expressions in expanded form. So 3 times m, because remember the exponent only applies to the n, m, and then the exponent that applies to the n is n cubed, or the 3, so that means n times n times n. And then our second expression is 2 times m times n times n times n times n. Now we're going to take those two expressions and multiply them together. So basically every operation symbol here is a multiplication symbol. That means that we can arrange the order in any way that we'd like. So we can do that 3 times 2 first. And that's going to give us 6. And now let's take a look at all of the m's. I've got 2 factors here, and I've got another single factor there. That means that I now have m times m times m, which is m cubed. And now let's look at our n's. I've got 3 of them there and another 4 of them sitting over there. So when I multiply those together, that will be n to the 7th power. Now, do you have to write all of this out? No, you don't. But you can certainly visualize it in expanded form and then do that multiplication by rearranging the order in your head. All right, try the one below on your own. 5x squared y times 7x to the fourth y cubed. Pause the video while you do this. All right, you should have gotten an answer of 35x to the sixth y raised to the fourth power. And you can choose to write that out or not. All right, let's take a look at one that's just a little bit different. In this one, we've got in example 3, something that's raised to the third power. So I'm going to do the same thing with it. First off, we're going to take that outer exponent and write that as repeated multiplication. So this is 5a to the fourth b squared times 5a to the fourth b squared times 5a to the fourth b squared. So we've got 5 times a times a times a times a times b times b. That's what's going to be in each parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and write it all out. Even though you might not do it, you might just visualize it when you're doing it. I can just kind of count my factors as I multiply them together. So we've got 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. And I've got each group of a's is 4 factors. So that's 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. So we've got a to the 12th. And then 2 b's in each group. So that's b squared times b squared times b squared is b to the 6th power, because that's 6 factors of b that are multiplied together. All right, your turn to pause the video as you try this one below. And we should come up with a result of negative 8a cubed c raised to the, well, no, actually. Let me try that one again. If I wasn't paying attention the first time and I didn't look at that outside exponent, that was 4. So we're going to have negative 2ac cubed times itself times itself times itself. So there are 4 identical factors there, and each one of those is negative 2a times c times c times c. So if we gather all of them, negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 16. A times A times A times A is a to the fourth, and we have 12 factors of C. That's it for this section.